Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she needs to get a real job and she will never be a famous comedian? 31M and my girlfriend is 28. Her and I have been together for 6 years and have been living together for the last 2. Going to attempt to keep this short, so PLZ ask for details if I leave something out. Girlfriend has always enjoyed doing comedy and has done open mic nights since we've met shortly after college. She had a real sales job, though that was her Monday-Friday 9-5 job where she made decent money. I have a good but hard job and make almost triple what my girlfriend was making when she had her job. I said had because last August she quit her job because it was taking away from her comedy ventures. She told me a year from now she thinks she can really make it. I was a bit skeptical, but since I make enough to support us, I encouraged her because I want to be a supportive boyfriend. Since she quit her job, she began doing Uber and DoorDash, which is where she makes 100% of her money. Her comedy has gotten us $0. Over the past few months I have started to resent her though. She constantly complains she has no money, yet drives for Uber or DD maybe 3 times a week for maybe 4 hours at a time. I have been paying a lot more for household expenses and I'm not saving as much as I'd like to anymore. She sleeps till noon because sometimes her open mics run real late before she even gets to perform. And when she gets up she just bums around on TikTok and YouTube looking for inspiration. She also gets very moody with me if I don't come to 90% of her open mic performances. Even after working a 14-hour day she will get mad if I don't go to her open mic at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Last night, I did the unthinkable. I asked her to consider going back to a full-time job. I said she should still do her comedy, but I'm struggling with taking care of our expenses all by myself. When she gave a dismissive answer, I told her firmly that she will never be a famous comedian. I said she's 28 and it's time to grow the fuck up and join the real world because this is totally unfair to me that I bust my ass while she lives in La La Land. And that she can't be this naive at this age by thinking she's going to support herself with this. She stared at me in silence for a few minutes, started crying and went to stay with a friend. She called me a fucking dickhead asshole and I'm the worst friend ever. She has not answered her phone today yet. So am I a fucking dickhead asshole? Mostly her. Yes, she is clearly not putting in her fair share with work and bills, and your frustration over having to handle most of the expenses while she pursues her comedy ventures is justified. But you really lost steam towards the end. While I realize you make some good points, that message got warped when you completely blew up and demeaned her. Not the asshole. The reality is people are flawed. You are frustrated taking care of a grown-ass adult who is content freeloading off you while she sleeps till noon and barely works part-time. So your anger boiled over and you said some harsh things. If she wants to be a comedian she can work a full-time job and make her dream a side gig. Just like she would have to do if she had to pay her own big girl bills. It's been almost a year. Time to grow up, pay them bills. For me it's not even an ultimatum. My partner would have to get a job that pays bills and 1/2 the rent or we would be done. Not the asshole. She had a vague plan of being able to live off of her art after giving it a full-time go for a year. That year is almost over and she's not making any money from it. It also sounds like she's not really doing as much as she could on this if she's got a lot of time to play on her phone, etc. She is bringing in some money in the gig economy, but 12 a week of probably minimum wage is obviously nothing in comparison to a very time-consuming, hard, and well-paying job. You agreed to support her for a year. That year is almost over. Time for her to get a job again, one where she brings in a good amount so that she's not just living off of your earnings. But this is Reddit, so 1,000 underachievers are going to attack you for daring to suggest that a 28-year-old adult needs to be working full-time in order to pay the bills. As a girl who took care of her boyfriend in the almost same scenario, but let it carry on for way too long, you are not the asshole. It is not your job to take care of both you and another human you did not birth, and it is not your job to cater to emotions because in the end, who's catering to yours here? Care about yourself. You can love her, but she can love you too by being able to take care of herself while still exploring her passions. What you said was really mean and over the top, but your frustration is understandable. Can't come down on you too hard for snapping. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter to leave the TV settings alone? I, 43 male, got some fancy TV with like 8 gabillion settings on it. It took me like 5 hours to set this thing up, between Samsung Online, all my streaming services, address verification crap, and like 8 other weird things that no one should have to deal with just to watch TV. So I've been noticing that the picture seems to keep getting darker and darker until the screen is nearly invisible in the daytime. I am generally pretty good at electronics, mechanics, all that kind of stuff. I'm the guy people call when they need tech support. But this damn TV is ludicrously convoluted in the amount of menus it has. I swear there's multiple menus that deal with picture quality. After messing around in the menus for like a week, I say screw it, and reset the TV back to factory. Another 3 hours to set it up this time. My picture is back to perfect. 2 days ago, I'm walking through the living room, and I see my daughter, 17 female, diving into the picture menus. I ask her if she has been changing the settings. She says yes, because she feels the TV is too bright when she's watching it at night with all the lights off. I ask her to not change the settings, and explain the issues I've been having with it. She asks if we can share the settings, by way of me turning it up when I want, and she can turn it down when she wants. The last thing I want to do is mess around with the picture menus every time I turn on the TV, so I ask her to just leave the settings alone, or watch the TV with a light on, so it's not as blaringly light. She melts down at this point. Why can't we share it? I don't like having the light on at night. You're being greedy and acting like a dictator. My wife apparently agrees with her, told me I'm being too obstinate. I truly did not think I was being out of line for telling the daughter that I really don't want her messing with the settings, because I don't want to go through the whole setup crap again if she messes it up and can't fix it. Am I the asshole here? Edit. She has her own TV in her own room, she can do whatever she likes to it. She was told that if she changed the settings back after she used it, she could do whatever she liked. She looked at me like I was crazy and said, "We both know I'm not going to do that. My issue is not whether or not I can figure out my TV. My issue is that I feel I should not have to change the settings every time I turn on the TV." Not the asshole. If she would have changed the brightness during her viewing time and been respectful and turned it back to the normal settings before turning the TV off, there wouldn't be an issue here. If she cannot return it to the normal settings, she should not be messing with it. I'm gonna say esh. Your daughter should just change the settings back. You should learn to do something that takes all of 5 seconds. Yes, modern smart TVs have a lot of settings. No, it doesn't generally take 3 hours to change a single brightness setting. There are even presets, generally. Your daughter could literally configure a preset she likes, as could you. Then it's literally 5 seconds to swap back and forth. I'm 45 and would be embarrassed if I couldn't adjust the TV settings as needed on the fly. I don't care how complicated it is, it's not that complicated. She adjusted the brightness and you have to spend hours doing it all over. I'm calling you the asshole because your only reasoning is, it's too hard. The person who changes it is the person who is responsible for changing it back. If your daughter changes it, she should fix it before turning it off. Not the asshole. I've got a Samsung and yes, they can be a pain, but there's a shortcut to everything. You both need to sit down and figure out the picture brightness setting and go from there, if your daughter hasn't already. I change my brightness at night all the time depending on the show I watch because their settings are so harsh and I get migraines. Ours is in the quick menu like most are, so you don't have to do the deep dive. Is it really that hard to keep the harmony in the house instead of master of your domain? Why WBTA if you don't compromise and work together? You are the asshole. Just ask her to show you how to use the TV and stop being a jerk. She's right, you're not sharing. Am I the asshole for fat shaming a girl? I'm a pretty slim guy, about 135 pounds at 5 feet 11. I've been hitting the gym and have seen some progress, but generally I'm still pretty skinny. Recently I've been seeing this girl, Vanessa, casually, and her friend isn't a fan of this, because she's made it known that the past Vanessa has dated a lot taller, buffer guys. I was hanging out with Vanessa today, and her friend showed up uninvited and was talking again about how I'm twiggy and short. This annoyed me, so I told her that I didn't want to hear a word from a woman with a bigger waist than me. She got angry and said I was fat shaming her. Vanessa agreed with me that her friend had it coming, but some mutual friends say I'm tall. Not the asshole.
If you don't want to be body shamed, don't body shame others.
Not the asshole. As a fat person myself, I'm often baffled by other fat people getting offended by someone simply stating the obvious. When someone calls me fat, my usual response is, yay, so? Isn't that obvious? Not the asshole. It's frustrating that the shaming only seems to be viewed as bad in one direction. Eat a salad to someone struggling with obesity is a horrible thing to say, but eat a sandwich to an underweight or just healthfully thin person is considered much more acceptable. Normally I'd say flinging an insult in return is a bad look, but honestly, what you said wasn't even that bad, especially considering you're a slim guy. Not the asshole. She had it coming. Plus, as you said, you are currently skinny, so it may not be that much of a burn. Esh. She called you skinny and short. You told her the only women who deserve to be heard are thin ones. Everyone sucks here. Yeah, she started it. But you're both insulting each other. Am I the asshole for telling my best friend's wife that I get it, she is insecure and it's quite sad? I have been best friends with Dave for about 17 years. We became friends in middle school. He married at 26 and I was the best woman at this wedding. His wife, Emma, has never liked me. I only met her a few times so far and each time she is cold and snappy. I invited him and his wife to a get-together at the beach. In total it was a group of 9 people. Emma has been snappy towards me the whole trip. It got to the point where people were asking me what was up with it. It was also some people's first time meeting her and they do not have a good opinion of her. We were at the beach and everyone was just relaxing. I noticed we were out of drinks and I was going to the car to grab some more. I was asking everyone if they wanted anything specific. I asked Dave. Emma chimed and told me that he can get it himself and doesn't need a half-dressed server. I was in a bikini. At this point I had enough and told her, I get it, you are insecure and I find it quite sad. This started an argument and she accused me of trying to steal her husband and me pointing out we have been friends for years. That I don't want to fuck him and never have. Some think I shouldn't have gone for the throat even if it was obvious what her issue was. Emma wants an apology. Dave hasn't given me an opinion. Info. Have you ever talked to Dave about his wife's obvious dislike of you? Has he ever said anything about it? This is a Dave problem. He doesn't get to not have an opinion. Either he needs to establish new boundaries with you to make his wife more comfortable, can't really judge that without hearing an impartial version of events, or he needs to talk to his wife about being rude to his friends or potentially both. He doesn't get to not take sides or he deserves to be single and friendless. Right now he is hanging everyone out to dry. Info. There has to be more to this. Lol, I'm just imaging Dave in his own little world at the beach while all this was going down. What was he doing this whole time? Maybe she is insecure, but you don't know what led her to be like that. Maybe it's her own problem, or maybe Dave is feeding that insecurity somehow. But yeah, I agree with others that more info would be great. I could be wrong, but I feel like there are missing details, taking the story as told, not the asshole. I really don't get the everyone sucks here or you're the asshole. Her insecure types aren't your problem and it's not on you to befriend someone that treats you badly, whenever you meet. It's on her to deal with her insecurities and if she can't, she should go to therapy. But it's also on Dave. He has to manage the relationship you two have and his relationship with his wife. He has to tell her to behave decently and he also has to make sure that his wife knows you are nothing but friends. The comment may be a bit harsh, but it hit the nail on the head and I get why you said it. At some point you just can't put up with all the comments and insinuations anymore. She was out of line with her comment and you recriminated. Not the asshole.